I'm Park Minchan. Today, we'll talk about happy dna or unhappy dna. We all know that all living things have dna. But what do you think about the dna of happiness? And the dna of misfortune? Do you think such a thing exists or not? Especially for us humans, we have the dna of your past and misfortune. No. Everyone, 50-50. I don't think it's about where the dna is. And then it's about me. I think it's 50-50. In conclusion, the happy dna and the unhappy are determined. I'm sure it's there. Then how do you find out? If you live a happy life, you've inherited the dna of happiness. If you live an unhappy life, you've inherited the dna of happiness. The reason for that is because such dna is determined by Feng Shui. If you're born from your parents, how do you inherit the dna of your parents? Your parents inherited the dna of your great-great-great-great-great-grandparents, so it affects you. So if you're going to hate your ancestors, it's because you're good at it. It's related to offspring. Because it has good dna. It's connected to offspring medicine. And so good dna leads to happiness, leads to fate. But unfortunate dna leads to fate again. So the dna is passed down by the influence of our ancestors. And the process by which it's passed down is that the principle is that it's all about Feng Shui. So Feng Shui affects people when they die. When they're buried. But when they're cremated, it affects them. So when they're buried, it affects them 90. It's the dna that determines the success of their descendants. That's why dna is good for ancestral descendants. That's why it's the ancestral virtue. That's what it means. It's very important because it has a 90% impact. That's right. Good dna can have a positive impact. But bad dna can also have a 90% impact. That's where you're unfortunate and happy. Dna is determined. That means your happiness has been decided, regardless of your will. It's a relief. If you're happy, it's a relief that your descendants will be happy too. But those unfortunate offspring will have more unfortunate offspring. How unfortunate is that? This shows how important Feng Shui is. This fact has been known for a long time. But we didn't even know about his clothes or his dna. So we just ignored it. However, this is a fact. Parents believe that their children can use their energy. Because it's science, that's right. In our culture, Feng Shui is the most important. It's important because everyone is affected by Feng Shui. It has to do with the world, society, and the country, so it has to be very important. Now that we know exactly what it is, not only in our country, but all over the world, the dna is the same. It's affected in the same way. We're not the only ones who can communicate with their parents. So the whole world thinks the same. But only Korea practices intestinal feng shui. Fortunately, other countries don't have buried feng shui, even with balloons. It's a relief to know that. Our country has always protected it. Even if it hasn't, I made it clear in my time so the whole world knows how important it is. We'll know for sure what they're saying. Then the whole world will find good deh. That's why I don't allow good people to be born and bad. People like Jae-myung Lee to be born. That's what happens. When women find out the truth. It's because I made it public that my grandchildren will be born happy rather than unhappy. It's a good thing. We all want the best for our offspring. However, regardless of our will, this is already 90% affected by our ancestors. That's even more important. That's the truth. It makes sense to say that. You want to get good now. It's a matter of human nature, and it has such an impact on our children and grandchildren. So it's not an individual issue. It's a global era in our society and our country. So it has an impact on the world. How important is it? Na is an important fact. So how can we confirm this? If you look at the birth chart, you can see 90 of the results. That's how you can confirm it. But I'm going to publish a book in Japan this time. It's going to be published in spring. Biography is published in the Korean Miracle of Chungyecheon. The name of the book is Jail Dongpo's Johnny's son's fate will be eliminated. So not only will his fate be eliminated, but the fate of a Japanese conglomerate will be eliminated. So 5 Japanese people will be eliminated. And they are exactly the same. That's why we can't deny it. So we're looking forward to this conversation in Japan. I expect at least 1 million books to be published in my book in Japan, since the Feng Shui University is as futuristic as he is. It's scientifically preferable. That's right. It's obvious. I will give birth to an unfortunate offspring. I'll give birth to happy children. In other words, the impact of my immediate ancestor is very important. So it can't be helped. I've said something different today. This is something that began when humans emerged. Until now. Compared to that, people have been saying, I can't serve you. It's because we have the same da. Healthy people are healthy because they got good na from their parents. You can't deny that. It's the same. That's what Feng Shui is all about, so no one can deny it. In 1986, there was a newspaper article. A university in England talked about na. And they conducted an experiment where a happy na is determined by a happy fate. It's already been scientifically proven. And if we look at all your ancestors from the past, what you said is exactly the same. So from now on, Feng Shui University is the trend. You'll find out that the world is determined by Feng Shui. Who uses it first and knows about it first. And how you use it determines the longevity of our descendants and our nation. That's how it is. Today's topic: na happiness or na unhappiness. Thank you.
광고입니다. 네이버 카카오 지도에서 월드 부동산 중개 검색하고 길 안내 받으세요. 3호선 안국역 인근 월드 부동산은 오피스텔월드 1층 107호 주차장에 있으며 서울시 종로구 율곡노육길 36, 운이동 65-1이고 월드 부동산 대표 공인중개사 박윤수, 연락처 01-0250-95583 또는 0276622749이고 등록번호 281-5900-7004입니다. 구독해주세요. 구독.